to Hawaii Literacy's Adult Literacy Program Tutor Training. This is Section 5, Reading Fluency and Comprehension. Fluency is more than just how quickly you read. Fluency is important because it aids in comprehension. If you are struggling to decode each word, your focus is not on understanding what the words mean or the bigger picture of the text. It involves accurate and automatic decoding of words and the ability to chunk portions of text, all in ways that reflect comprehension. In fluent oral reading, conveying intonation and cadence of speech is also important. The following is an excerpt from Fluency Development, Practice Means Progress by Susan McShane. Fluent reading is rapid, efficient, and largely free of errors in word identification. But fluency is more than speedy, accurate word reading. A fluent reader also uses appropriate phrasing and expression. A fluent reader knows how to group words into phrases, where to pause, and what to emphasize. In other words, fluent reading sounds like speech. Guidance for fluency may involve modeling, simultaneous reading, assistance and correction, and combinations of these options. When choosing reading materials for fluency practice, how do you decide on the difficulty level? For fluency practice aimed at building speed and improving phrasing and expression, some authors suggest using material at the learner's independent reading level to minimize word recognition problems. If, however, you want to work on all aspects of fluency, you may want a passage that is somewhat difficult at the instructional reading level, so the learner gets decoding practice as well as works on the other aspects of fluency. You can support your learner in their oral reading with the following strategies. A great way to physically guide your learner's fluency is by showing them you can use a finger to draw along sentences in the text while they read. This keeps the learner focused on the specific piece of text they are reading and can help with the flow and fluidity of their oral reading. Some learners even use an index card to block the other portions of the text out of their vision so they can concentrate. Here are some strategies to improve fluency. Modeled reading. Reading aloud to your learner is a great way to help them improve their reading fluency. Your learner may never have heard what good reading sounds like with expression and phrasing. This is also a great opportunity for your learner to have access to material that they are interested in but may be beyond their current reading ability. Model reading can help build learners' background knowledge, provide a good change of pace in a lesson, and can make the learner more motivated to read themselves. Echo reading. This strategy involves reading a sentence or a paragraph aloud and then having the learner read it after. This is great for beginning students. Alternate reading. In this strategy, you read a sentence or paragraph and then your learner reads a sentence or paragraph. This allows the learner to get practice, but also allows them to take breaks in between and listen while someone else reads. This strategy works particularly well for dialogues and plays. Repeated reading. In this strategy, the student reads a passage orally until fluency is attained. Use this strategy sparingly, but it can be helpful to show your student how practice and repetition can assist with improvement. Duet reading. In this strategy, you and your learner read together in unison. This should be used with students who already have some sight word vocabulary. This strategy helps to aid students in paying attention to punctuation and can be used to show how the punctuation changes the meaning of what is being said. Comprehension and fluency are very important in reading. Reading a wide variety of materials for a variety of purposes can help with fluency. We already mentioned teaching your learner to track the text with their finger. Most importantly to remember is that practice means progress. Now we are going to talk about reading comprehension. Comprehension is more than just understanding what you're reading. Comprehension also involves constructing or creating personal meaning from what you read. Most of what we store in our memory is stored in terms of meaning. Comprehension involves the ability to self-monitor our reading to make sure that we are getting a good grasp of the text. It requires the ability to examine text structures and summarize ideas. The following is an excerpt from What is Reading Comprehension by K-12 Reader. Simply put, reading comprehension is the act of understanding what you are reading. While the definition can be simply stated, the act is not as simple to teach, learn, or practice. Reading comprehension is an intentional, active, and interactive process that occurs before, during, and after a person reads a particular piece of writing. Reading comprehension is one of the pillars of the act of reading. When a person reads a text, he engages in a complex array of cognitive processes. He is simultaneously using his awareness and understanding of phonemes, individual sound pieces in language, phonics, connection between letters and sounds and the relationship between sounds, letters, and words, and the ability to comprehend or construct meaning from the text. This last component of the act of reading is comprehension. It cannot occur independent of the other two elements of the process. At the same time, it is the most difficult and the most important of the three. There are two elements that make up the process of reading comprehension: vocabulary knowledge and text comprehension. In order to understand the text, a reader must be able to comprehend the vocabulary used in the piece of writing. If the individual words don't make sense, then the overall story will not either. Learners can draw on their prior knowledge of vocabulary, but they also need to continually be taught new words. The best vocabulary instruction occurs at the point of need. Teachers should pre-teach new words that a student will encounter in the text to aid in their understanding of unfamiliar words as they come upon them in the writing. In addition to being able to understand each distinct word in a text, the child also has to be able to put them together to develop an overall conception of what the text is trying to say. This is text comprehension. Text comprehension is much more complex and varied than vocabulary knowledge. Readers use many different text comprehension strategies to develop reading comprehension. These include monitoring for understanding, answering and generating questions, summarizing and being aware of and using a text structure to aid in comprehension. As you can see, reading comprehension is incredibly complex and multifaceted. Because of this, readers do not have the ability to comprehend text quickly, easily, or independently. Reading comprehension strategies must be taught over an extended period of time by teachers who have knowledge and experience of using them. Reading comprehension strategies must be refined, practiced, and reinforced continually throughout life. You can help your learner before, during, or after reading to aid them in building reading comprehension. Remind your learner that good readers ask questions. We can model the process of being reflective about our reading to our learners and also help them build up an arsenal of skills and strategies that will help them to self-monitor their comprehension while reading. Before reading, the main goal is to help the learner activate their prior knowledge about what they are about to read and provide a context for reading. This can assist your learner in recognizing words that they would not usually be able to read. For example, if I know the story is about eating in a kitchen, the word refrigerator may become recognizable in the frame of that setting. You may want to do a book walk with your student before reading, looking at the pictures and titles to learn more about what the reading is about. You may also want to ask your learner what they know about the topic, or make a prediction about what they think the reading will be about. These strategies help frame the reading in context familiar for your learner. Setting a purpose for reading can also help your learner's comprehension. We read for a variety of reasons, including entertainment, to gain information, to learn something new, and to gain insights. We read a novel for pleasure much differently than we read a manual to put together furniture. Setting a purpose for reading can help us understand how closely we should focus on the text and put in the correct frame of mind to get out what we want from reading. You may also want to plan ahead and pick out some vocabulary words from the reading that you can anticipate your reader may struggle with or that are key to understanding the text. You can go over them with your reader and explain and discuss the definitions. Your learner may even want to create flashcards for the words. During reading, you can also support your student in their comprehension of the text. Many of these strategies are built into the curriculum that you will use with your student. You may ask your student to retell a passage or ask clarifying questions about parts of the text. Who is in the reading? What were they doing? Where were they? When did blank happen? Why did blank happen? How did blank happen? On this page, you can see some of the basic clarifying questions. After reading, you can also reinforce and review your learner's comprehension. You may have your learner summarize or make inferences about the reading, make up an alternate ending, fill in the blank exercises, or other post-reading activities. You can see a graphic for higher order thinking skills, which categorize key words that can be used in different types of and levels of questioning. More basic or rote memorization keywords are at the bottom, and more complex analysis and evaluation tasks are at the top. You can help deepen the level of understanding and engagement of your learner by selecting some of the keywords from the different sections and asking questions. What should you do if your learner gets stuck on a word? These are 10 strategies that you can use to assist your learner in building strategies to help themselves when they get stuck on a word in text. Number 1, wait at least 5 seconds before intervening. Some new readers need extra time, and interrupting them too soon can cause them to lose focus. Number 2, tell your learner to look at the picture. Clues in the picture may help your learner identify the text. Ask your learner to say the beginning sound of the word. Sometimes this can trigger the learner's memory and help them identify the word. Stretch the word out slowly, sound by sound, or sound by blend, and put the sounds back together. For example, at, cat. Chunk the word. Ask the learner to look at chunks of the word they recognize or break the word into smaller pieces. Your learner might be able to identify individual chunks of the word if they can't read the whole word initially. Skip the word and keep reading on. You can go back to read the sentence again and pick a word that makes sense. Number 7, you can ask your learner to flip the vowel sound from long to short in a word that they are sounding out incorrectly and ask them which makes more sense. You can cover up the suffix or ending of the word, which might distract your reader, even though they know the root word. You can add it back after the learner decodes the root word. Number 9, you can have your reader skip the word altogether. You can model and show your reader that they can skip a word and still get the gist or overall meaning of text without knowing every single word. Ask your learner to be critical. If they say the word wrong, ask your learner, does that word sound right or look right? Does that word make sense in the context? These strategies are here to help your learner and assist them in building strategies to help them guide and monitor their own reading. If you try a strategy or two with your learner and they still cannot get the word, it's okay to help them. Sometimes it's better to move on than to dwell too much on a particular word. You may want to make a flashcard of the word for your learner so that they can practice it on their own. This ends Module 5. Please take the corresponding quiz and write down any questions you may have for the Hawaii Literacy staff. We can discuss them in our post-training meeting or discuss them individually. This ends the reading comprehension and fluency section.